show number 30, anniversary episode, so you know it's going to be good. So thank you for joining us as always. I am Philip, and joining me are Ben and Russ. How are you fine gentlemen doing on this day?
Very good.
Good, Phil.
Good to hear. So let's get right into it, man. We've got a huge pay-per-view coming up this week with a pretty stacked card, 2 title fights, and a huge return. So without further ado, let's get right into these title fights. So the main event, looking at Alexander Volkanovski against Brian Ortega, or as Ben refers to him as Bald Ortega 2.0.
Yeah.
So I'll throw it over to Ben first, then you can toss it over to Russ. What do you guys expect to see from this one?
Well, this one's a tough one to call. Both have been pretty inactive, Volk hasn't fought since, I believe, the Max Holloway rematch, which was over a year ago. And then Ortega hasn't fought since the Korean Zombie fight, which was nearly a year ago. Both of them looked really good in their last fight. Ortega especially. It was a new version of Ortega that improved his striking. Bald Ortega, I call him. Bald Ortega 2.0, but he's not bald coming into this fight, so that's tricky. But yeah,
Volk is.
Yeah, Volk's bald. Yeah, so this is a tough fight to call. It's hard for me to pick against Volk because he beat Max Holloway, one of the greatest ever, 2 times. But Ortega looked so impressive his last fight. So I'm going to pick Ortega. I think he's going to get it to the ground, actually. And I think I'm going to say he submits Volk. Call me crazy, but I'm going to say he submits Volk. And that's a tough fight to call, though. It could go any way.
Bold prediction. I like it.
What do you think, Russ?
I think it's going to be not a barn burner of a fight. Like Volkanovski tends to point fight a lot, and I think he's going to just, tag him with a lot of jabs, take him down a couple times, mess up Ortega's rhythm, and just grind out a five round decision. That's how I see it going. I don't know. I want to think Ortega is going to do better because this 2.0 version that came out against Zombie looked amazing. But I just don't think his striking is enough. If Max's wasn't, I don't know how his is going to be, even though he has like kind of a different style. He throws. Yeah. I mean, against Zombie, at least he was throwing more insane stuff than just boxing, but I think Volk's going to hang on to the title probably. If you're betting on it, probably a decision with Volk is the way to go.
What do you think, Phil?
What do you think?
Yeah, it's certainly an intriguing one because I can definitely see, MMA math, kind of leans me towards Volk because he's beat Max twice, and you saw what Max did to Brian Ortega. Like it was a massacre. So, and I know Ortega looked fantastic in that last fight, but it was, and I love the Korean Zombie maybe more than anybody, but it's a different level of competition. But the one thing that Ortega does have going for him is we've seen Ortega stop a lot of guys with like 1 or 2 strikes. And as great as Max is, he's usually a volume puncher. And if he can tag, Volkanovski, I think, he can cause him some trouble. But I just still, it's intriguing. I wouldn't be shocked either way. I think it's a pretty close fight, but I just think Volkanovski's striking is at a different level. And I think he's going to, he'll probably get tagged a couple times and be in trouble, but I think he'll ultimately end up busting Ortega up, with jabs and things similar to how Max did and either get a late stoppage or a decision. So,
okay. You and Russ are on the same boat kind of on that one.
Yeah.
Even though in my heart, I am rooting for Ortega, victory somehow. Like he's got a lot of submissions. So if maybe he catches him with like a guillotine or a triangle at some point, I mean, it's possible. He's very good at jiu-jitsu. So
he is very, yep.
It could happen. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but smart money's on Volk.
Yeah, Ortega's great. And I believe he only has that 1 loss in his entire career, but it was so one-sided at the championship level. It's hard to imagine, him coming up and beating Volkanovski. But again, he does have a lot of tools in the toolbox and, it wouldn't be like totally shocking. I'd be shocked if he came out and just worked Volkanovski like he did Korean Zombie. Like I don't see any scenario that happens. I think he's got to catch him in a submission or hit him with one of those crazy strikes like he did Frankie and get it done that way. So
yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right. What about that co-main?
Yeah, in the co-main event, we've got another title fight. I would say probably not as tough to pick the winner in this one. We've got debatably the most dominant fighter in the UFC. Valentina Shevchenko is fighting Lauren Murphy. Russ, we'll start with you and then throw it over to Ben.
Well, I mean, we all know and have to agree Shevchenko is the greatest female fighter. Like she's not the greatest female fighter. Nunez is. She's the most dominant champion in the UFC. Like there's nobody in her division that's even close. You know, like the lines on her fights are regularly like minus 1,000 outside of that Andrade fight that everybody gave Andrade a chance and she just completely molested her. So we know she's the best. She's going to win. It's just a matter of when and how. And I think surprisingly, I think it's going to go pretty long. I think she's going to end up wearing her out and maybe finish her in the 4th or 5th. Just maybe even go to decision. Lauren Murphy, I was looking it up. In her like 12-year career, she's never been finished in her career.
Wow.
She's only lost like, I think 3 or 4 fights and they were decision. And she's on a 5-fight win streak. So she's got some confidence and momentum going. And I think she's just good at, you know, she's got good durability and she's going to be good at taking a serious beating from Valentina. But, you know, as we know, Shevchenko just gets stronger as it goes on and she'll eventually wear her out, I think. Get it done.
All right. I'm going to make a very, very bold prediction here. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. Shevchenko's going to win. I have nothing else to add to that, Russ. You said, I mean, although I do think Shevchenko finishes it earlier than the 4th or 5th. I don't care how durable Lauren Murphy is. Like she's never fought anyone on Shevchenko's level. So I'm going to say Shevchenko finishes it in 2nd. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, you know, she's reaching that level where like GSP was, where it's like she's the best on her feet, she's the best on the ground. It's like it's she's gonna finish it where she wants to finish it. And you feel bad, like I almost feel disrespectful talking about the other girls like that, but I just don't see what anybody has to offer her anywhere. So, you know, short of like a fluke, like I don't see anyone even really challenging her at 125. And I think it's going to be, what she decides. It's going to be a short night or a long night. If she wants to, put on a kickboxing display, or if she wants to take this girl down and beat her up, or, whatever she wants to do is kind of how this fight is going to go. And she seems like she's been working on her submissions more lately and proving that she's got like a great ground game. I think everybody knows what a killer she is on her feet. So I think she's going to take her down. She's going to beat her up, but ultimately she's going to submit her probably in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think she's just going to overwhelm Lauren Murphy, and that's about all there is to it.
We're all on the same boat on that one.
Yeah. Murphy, you can't deny her the shot because she's won 5 in a row, but the girl she's beaten leading up to it, it's such a different level,
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, it's one of those things that you start to be like, you feel bad because she's definitely the title contender, but it's like,
right.
I feel like she should almost have like it should be like a handicap match. Like it should be like the number 1 and number 2 contenders against Valentina.
Yeah, that's the only way when you've broken a division the way she has.
Right. What I think most people, fans, hardcores and casuals would probably agree, the most exciting fight of the night, if we get there, there's it seems like drama every day, but the long-awaited return of the filthy fighter himself, Nick Diaz, taking on Robbie Lawler in a rematch 17 years in the making. The first one was really the fight that put Nick on the map. He went out and he stopped Robbie, and that was it's the very first fight I remember some significant trash talk from a dude on his feet. And that's where kind of like the whole Diaz aura started. I went back and watched that fight not too long ago, but lot to unpack here. Now it looks like it's going to take place at middleweight just on a few days notice. They're changing the weight of the fight. So Ben, let me know what you think about this one and how you expect it to go. And then Russ, you can add to that. So
this is a tough one to call, like the others, or like the main event. Nick's been out for 6+ years. So that's going to definitely have an effect. Ring rust might not be a thing if you're out maybe a year or 2, but 6 years, that's a long time. So Robbie's been very active in that time. But Nick's always like, if you know Nick, he stays in shape, he trains, but it's not at like a high level competition fight. So I'm going to pick Robbie. I honestly think it's going to be a war. Nick's got the volume. And do you guys know this is a 3 or 5 round fight?
5 round non-title.
Wow. Okay. So I think Nick puts it on him later in the fight. But Robbie's work early on, Robbie's going to take rounds 1 through 3, maybe something like that. And Robbie's work early on is going to win him the fight, but Nick's going to take over near the end. But I think it goes to decision. and I'm going to take Robbie Lawler. But yeah, we've seen Nick finish him in the past, and we've seen Robbie finish people in the past. So I could see a knockout. But yeah, I'm going to take Robbie. It's an awesome fight. Two legends, and that's so crazy. 17 years ago. Do you realize how long that is? That is UFC careers have started
insane.
And died so many times in that time. It's crazy. And what do you guys think? What do you think, Russ?
I mean, it's a great fight. Two legends. It's perfectly booked. You know, both of them, like, Robbie's on a 4-fight losing streak and Nick hasn't won in like 10 years. Like, he honestly hasn't won, I think, since 2011.
Wow.
Plus he's had, like, you know, the 5 or 6 years off after the Anderson fight. But I think it's going to be an amazing fight. I think they're going to throw down. I think Nick will be up to his antics, and I think he's going to hit him with like an 87 punch combo and finish him, you know, probably in like the 3rd or 4th. I think Nick's been working on his boxing for the last 5 years, and I think he's going to come out there and look like freaking Canelo and just tear him up.
Wishful thinking.
No disrespect to Robbie. I love him.
Come on now. Yeah.
Nick's going to do work, and then he's going to call his next fight. If it's at 185, maybe he's going to call out Adesanya next, but he'll get what he wants.
That'd be the most bonkers thing in MMA history if Nick calls out Adesanya after his first win in 6 years.
Actually, more bonkers than that. I just read today, I was flipping through watching some videos, and the rumor is if Nick goes out and gets an impressive victory, he's calling out Khabib. That's
really?
That's the rumor that his camp is telling people that he's going to call out Khabib.
I will support anything the Diaz bros do, but no disrespect to Robbie. He's a killer. He's violent. I just think the Diaz bros are the two people that can take the punishment pretty easily and survive it and just pour on volume. I have no doubt about that.
I could definitely see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not too much to add to what you guys said. Like, I've two of the most likable dudes in all of MMA. Two guys who always deliver, so you know it's going to be a fun fight. Again, Nick is the big question mark because we haven't seen him in so long. But one of the things that I think is going to lend to him, and especially in this style of fight, because, you know, these guys are warriors and it becomes a war. Poor Robbie's got so many fighter miles on him and he's taken so many beatings, and Nick has not really. You know, especially in like recent years. And if it comes to like inflicting damage, again, Robbie can always finish anyone with one of those haymakers if he happens to hit Nick. And I know Nick is super tough. He's only been finished, once. Well, technically twice, but one was a cut. He's only been finished once by strikes in his career, and it was really early. So it's hard to imagine him getting knocked out, but Robbie hits like a truck. But if Nick starts putting that volume on him, like, I just don't know that this version of Robbie Lawler, who's lost 4 in a row, can withstand the type of beating that, you know, when he fought Johnny Hendricks, when he fought Rory McDonald. Like, poor Robbie's just taken so many punches to the face in his life. If Nick starts putting it on him, like, I think Robbie's just going to shut down at some point. And I think Nick will, you know, if he looks anything like the Nick Diaz we know, I think, you know, probably 3rd round, he's, you know, just Robbie's not going to be able to stand up to the punishment.
Wow. We got 2 people taking Nick after 6 years off. That is bold.
209.
Yeah. Admittedly, like, I'm an absolute mark for Nick Diaz. So, you know, I you know, in my mind, I kind of imagine him coming out and being as good as he was when he was the Strikeforce champion and things like that, which is probably unrealistic. But, you know, he trains his butt off. He eats right. He does freaking Ironmans and things like that. So I think he's going to be in pretty good shape. But again, you know, with all the antics going into this fight, obviously, you know, these dudes were not prepared to make weight because they're changing the weight a few days before the fight. Who the F knows what we're going to see?
I like also that, you know, he doesn't really have to worry about Robbie shooting for a takedown. So, like, you know,
yeah,
Nick and Nate both usually, when they know it's a stand-up battle, fare pretty well. Like, you know, when they don't have to worry about that added element of being taken down. That's
could just stand and bang.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I just hope it's an awesome fight either way. Like I said, ultimately I want Nick to, I'll be sad if Nick looks like garbage after all this time, but I just want to see a fight that is every bit as good as the first one was.
It can't not be with those two guys. It can't not.
The whole night hinges on that.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. You know, I tend to agree. And then, we should quickly touch on one more fight because it kind of flew under the radar until I was reviewing the card. Like it could very well be like a number one contenders fight. You know, we got Curtis Blades and Rosenstruck are getting in there. The heavyweights, 2 guys who were very much in the title picture, and just have losses to top guys, so, 1 or 2 wins and they're right there. So kind of, Russ, I'll give it to you first, then throw it over to Ben. Just give some quick thoughts on what you guys expect from that.
I expect Blades to probably wrestle him down and, grind out a fairly boring victory, like he does a lot, even though, you can't 100% rely on his wrestling, because we seen last time he shot a takedown, he got the uppercut of death from Derek Lewis. So you can't say that for sure, but I think that, they're just a tier below the top guys, Gan and Ngannou and Stipe. I don't see him beating those guys regardless, but I think Blades will get the win, and I hope he does. I like him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Russ. I agree. Blades will probably wrestle him. Won't be too exciting of a fight, but then again, Rosenstruck, he's got some power, as do many heavyweights. You could definitely knock him out. There's always that one punch chance in the heavyweight division. So, but yeah, I think Blades wrestles the win, wrestles to a decision. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah. I tend to kind of agree with you guys, but I think Blades is going to get a finish. With some ground and pound. And I like Rosenstruck, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. He looked very uninspired in his last fight. And I'm sure he was just frustrated and things like that. But yeah, he just hasn't looked good his last couple fights. And
was that against Gan, that last one?
Yeah. And I just think that, Blades is a bad matchup already. And, I think Blades though probably realizes that, he has a bit of a reputation for not being the most exciting guy. And, I think he's going to get it done with ground and pound, maybe second round. That's where I'm going with this one.
Okay.
There you go. They need to just step aside anyway, because my boy Aspinall's coming up for that title next.
No one's ever said my boy Aspinall.
That's my boy, Frank Mir 2.0.
I'm sorry.
That took an unexpected turn, but here we are. So.
Just because of that, Russ, your best bets segment is cut.
No, you'll see. I'm putting in a futures bet on Aspinall will be the next champ, and not next, but when he gets that shot.
Yeah.
All right.
It's coming.
Yeah, this is documented on video. So if he works up the ranking, we can go back and play this clip, and you'll be the hero. So
hell yeah! Now I'm gonna be sweating every Aspinall fight.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, speaking of that, Russ, why don't you quickly tell the people how they can make some money this weekend on these fights?
Oh, we got big money makers this week. Here we go. Best bets for this week. We got Nick Diaz by KO plus 650. I think he's winning, and I think he's going to pour it on and stop him. I don't see any other way for him to win. I don't think he's going to win a decision. So Nick Diaz by KO plus 650 is a big payday.
Wow.
And then I'm taking a parlay. I'm taking Ortega, Diaz, and Blades plus 600. You got all three have to hit, but that's kind of like betting with my heart, because I don't really deep down think Ortega's going to get it done, but plus 600. Because I think Diaz and Blades are going to win, and then add Ortega to it. And then I am also taking, what do I have here? Oh, Murphy and Shevchenko over 2.5 rounds, minus 120. I think Lauren Murphy's just durable, and she's going to get the hell beat out of her for, like 4 or 5 rounds. I think she's just going to be able to take the punishment for a long time, as long as the ref doesn't stop it. Just recognize, that she can take a beating.
Yeah.
And then bonus bet, I am taking Anthony Joshua in a boxing fight, because he's got a big heavyweight fight against Usyk, and he's plus 330 by decision. I think it could go the distance, and if it does go the distance, I think he could lose 10 rounds and they'll still give him the decision, because it's taking place over in England, and he just will not lose a decision.
Home cooking.
It will not happen.
Yeah.
So as long as he doesn't get the stop, he wins by decision, plus 330.
Okay. Nice bets.
Yep.
Very nice bets.
Good stuff. One thing I have to mention real quick before we wrap up, I forgot about this. I was going to mention it pre-show. I saw today that, there was the Bellator event last week, and there was the Phil Davis, Yoel Romero fight. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but in the post-fight presser, Romero stated that he lost the fight because he thought it was a 5-round fight and was saving his energy for the last 2 rounds.
I didn't hear that. That's outstanding.
That's a total Yoel Romero statement.
Heck yeah.
I love it. Like, it's the best thing ever. It's like, how do you not know how, how did you think the fight was 5 rounds? Like, I don't know, maybe because it was the main event. Like, I guess I can I don't know. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Everything that guy says and does is just ridiculous. Okay. That guy is
Legend
like
grows.
ridiculous,
but
character.
in like the best way possible. Like, you can't not be entertained by that. Like, whether he really thought it or not, I honestly don't even care. Like, it's just such a silly thing to go out to a press conference and say, like if I really thought that and I made that mistake, there's no way I'd admit it publicly.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I would put a lid on it. Like, there's no way I'd be like, oh yeah, I thought it was 5 rounds. They'd be like, you thought what?
Yeah.
He'll take the fact that he's dumb over the fact that he's not a great athlete, or, he's like not a better athlete than Phil Davis. You know what I mean?
That's a great freaking mistake.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I just had to mention that. And I will forever love Yoel Romero. Pretty much no matter what he does at this point. He's just entertaining every time. His fights are entertaining and his mic skills are even more entertaining.
Oh, hell yes, they are.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to get into before we get out of here?
No, that's about it.
That's
Phil.
it for this week. Yeah, we got the big pay-per-view. Pumped for it. Pumped for
Yes.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, we'll wrap this show up. It was good to see you gentlemen again. Glad fights are getting going
Phil.
again. And
Hell yeah.
we will be back soon to recap the fights and talk about the next ones coming up. Until then, everyone, enjoy the fights and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for
209.
watching. See ya.